Our mission statement is change the world through technology and story. It's technology for the sake of humanity. We look at technology and we say, how do we use it? But how do we use it so that it accomplishes a fundamental human and social need? The second part is this concept of story. Everybody in this room understands this, right? You can have a great product, but if you don't have a great story that's somehow connected to it, no one knows about it. The way that we go about telling this story is through this lens of help one, help many. And what that means for us is we don't try to tell a story about ALS or tell a story about some big, huge issue. We tell the story about one person. And in the telling the story of that one person and addressing that issue for that one person, we know that that has the ability to be that flint, that spark that could ignite something that could help many, many people. We go looking around and there's incredible art on the wall. And I said to my buddy, I'm like, hey, I'd love to meet the artist. And he said, you can't meet the artist. This is a benefit. And benefit is for a guy named Tempt. And Tempt, what I came to find out, was in the 80s and 90s, one of the foremost graffiti artists in the LA area, street artist. And he became incredibly loved by the community because he used his street art as a way to get kids out of gangs, to get them into school, and he's very, very socially active in terms of what he was doing. But he had ALS, and this was a fundraiser to try to raise money to pay for his hospital bills. And his father and brother were sitting there. They're the ones who run his foundation. And his brother almost leapt across the table and said, I just want to talk to my brother again. And I went, well, again, I'm sorry, but then how do you communicate? He said, we communicate through a piece of paper. We have a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, there's the alphabet. It's called a letterboard, and we run our finger along it, and when our finger gets to a letter that my brother wants, he blinks. Like, I live in Los Angeles. I have a GMP, my city has a GMP greater than most developing nations, and 13 miles away, there's a dude talking on a piece of paper. And I was taken by the emotion of it and just the humanity of it, so I was like, look, this is something that I have to do. And what that is for us now, it's a process that we employ at Non Impossible with everything we do, is when you see something that just has to change from a human perspective, that you commit, then you figure out how the heck you're going to pull it off. Why don't we use the blinking of the eye? And so as the eyelid interrupts the pupil, that will be the equivalent of the clicking of the mouse. So we hacked away at this thing, and after a couple weeks, we'd come up with a thing called the Eye Writer, and that's pretty much what it is. It's a cheap pair of sunglasses from the Venice Beach Boardwalk and copper wire that we duct taped to the side. We knocked open a Sony PS3 camera and zip tied it to the front. I told you, zip ties and duct tape and a lot of what we do. And it focused back on the pupil. We took it to Temp's hospital. We kicked his bed. He was on the 4th floor. We kicked it so he could see down into the parking lot. We may or may not have broken into a used car parking lot downstairs from the hospital and set up a little gas generator and a projector and projected, on the side of a building, probably about that size, and set up a wireless signal from his room down to the projector. And from his room, for the first time in 7 years, Temp drew again. And Temp said, that was the first time I'd drawn anything for 7 years. I feel like I've been held underwater, and someone finally reached down and pulled my head up so I could take a breath. Name something that's possible today that was not impossible first. Good answer. Nothing, right? Like, think about it. Buildings and planes and cell phones and computers. Everything we approach from this beautiful, limitless naivete. We don't know that we're not supposed to do it. We don't know. No one told us that we're not qualified. No one told us that we can't. So we approach it from this position and this place of naivete. We find our one, and then we just go for it.